So good afternoon, everybody. We're going to be starting our webinar soon. We're just allowing people in from the waiting room. So just give it another minute and we shall start. We do have the slides available that I will post in the chat as well for you all. And thank you, Tammy, for posting where you are coming from. Okay, so we shall start and we'll allow people as they come in. So good afternoon, everybody. Today is May 13th, and thank you for joining our webinar series. I'm Agnes Adakai, and I'm the director of our Circle for Indigenous Empowerment at the Sonoran Center for Excellence in Disabilities. I am Diné, a citizen of the Navajo Nation, and a program manager here at the Sonoran Center, the College of Medicine, University of Arizona. So today's webinar is Employment Supports Through Disability Benefits 101 with Reverend Nicholas. And I'll allow Nicholas to introduce himself later on. So today's session is being recorded, and all recordings and materials will be available after captioning by email. So if you'd like to ask a question, please type your question into the chat box or use the raise hand button if you'd like to speak. If you encounter any technical issues, please send a message in the chat to the Sonoran Center, and we will address any kind of questions or technical issues you have. So we're not having any live captioning or ASL today. It was not requested. We'd also like to read the university's land acknowledgement as we start today's session. We respectfully acknowledge the University of Arizona is on the land and territories of Indigenous peoples. Today, Arizona is home to 22 federally recognized tribes, with Tucson being home to the Tohono O'odham and the Uwemi, also called Yaqui. Committed to diversity and inclusion, the university strives to build sustainable relationships with sovereign Native nations and Indigenous communities through education offerings, partnerships, and community service. So we will pass it on to today's speaker, Reverend Nicholas. The floor is yours, and I will post the slides in the chat. Reverend?
Thank you. Hi, I'm Reverend Nicholas Love. I am a national expert on Social Security and disability benefits, and one of the people who helped bring Arizona DB101, Disability Benefits 101, to Arizona. I'm here to kind of guide some information along the way. There is absolutely no way we will get through all of what is in Arizona DB101, as it is an incredible website. So what I'm going to be doing is I will use a couple slides, and then I'm going to stop utilizing the slides and go right into the website. You will get the slides, though, that will tell you where I went and some directions. So the PowerPoint that you're going to receive is going to be more of a reference for later. Okay. So work and benefits can coexist. And that is one of the biggest issues we want to get through, that we hear repeatedly in Arizona, is people don't understand benefits. It's confusing. It's very complex. And that is actually a true statement, which is why in Arizona, we were very blessed to be able to receive funding from Vocational Rehabilitation, who has been funding and taking care of DB101 since 2012. So AZDB101, Arizona Disability Benefits 101, is a website that provides accurate information on the impact on federal and state benefits. It is not, though, just about benefits. We're going to learn that as we go through. The slides have the basic Social Security benefit information. Every year, the dollar amounts change on January 1, so you have the numbers for 2026. I cannot answer any personal questions, but I will provide you resources, not only on DB101, where you have the website here, URL, but also live persons who can assist you. So you're never alone in this, and we're going to go through this all together. So Arizona DB101 works through the confusion and myths around Social Security benefits and healthcare, employment, and way more. It is specific to Arizona, and it provides online tools and services and resources throughout. It helps to relieve that fear that individuals have about going to work and the fear that providers have in giving the wrong information. So it's there to empower people and their families and providers, including vocational rehab and tribal VR. It's there to help make those informed decisions that can lead to a more financially productive life. People who are receiving benefits are living within underneath the federal poverty levels. And so we want to help people be able to go to work to do what they want, to be able to earn the money they need to have the life they want. So DB101 covers benefits, but it also covers employment supports and resources, financial empowerment, education, how to get in education, how to utilize scholarships, how to utilize resources for disability in school, transition, youth, independent living philosophies. All of this is within DB101. To cover DB101, I would be doing this literally for over 24 hours. So we're going to really condense things down for an hour. Okay. So what you're going to receive is you're going to receive this PowerPoint. It'll give you some basic information along with links to where I'm going in DB101. As I'm going through this, if you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to put them in the chat, raise your hand, unmute yourself, whatever you need to do to get to this. Am I still showing my screen? I always get concerned when I go into the site itself.
Yes, you're still showing the screen. You're now on the Disability 101 webpage.
Thank you. All right. So this is a website. It's simply az.db101.org. You can see that the only other language we have it is Spanish. It will fully translate to Spanish with simply clicking a button and then back into English. I'm going to start by showing you the front page, and then I'm going to go into the information. Again, if there's any questions along the way, just poke me because I want you to get the information you want. So the very first we have up here at the top, we have our home, work and benefit sections, programs, youth. We have a veterans section, which is new. And then My DB101 is a tool for saving stuff. We go into our first panel, which we talk about how benefit support work. This is our hero panels where we just pull out a couple articles to be able to be there to give you some suggestions on what's there. Okay, so then we go into programs to help you find work and discovering how to save money. There are videos on DB101 to show you how to use it. So we have a welcome to DB101. We have some other things about a vault account, which it's really getting into the weeds. So we're not going to go into that today, but also how to use the full estimator. I am not going to go totally into the full estimator, but there's a video that will talk you through it. Then we go into healthcare and cash benefits. So finding the right health coverage for you, great for people on benefits or not, learning more about SSI and SSDI. There are 3 estimators, which are tools that calculate what your benefits are. So what are your benefits? If you go to work at how many hours at this wage, what's the impact? And so we're going to show you the end results of these, but I'm going to go into a quick estimator to also show you how to kind of work around it. So benefits and work. So that's for anybody who's on SSI and or SSDI or doing self-employment. We're going to show both of those as results. School and work are for young people to see about going to school, staying in school. And then Access Freedom Work, which is a Medicaid buy-in. Access is Medicaid in Arizona, and it's how to pay for access freedom to work, which is incredible, keeps you on Medicaid. Then we go into the youth section, which I'll show you in a little bit deeper. And then we have veteran sections. And on the bottom are some news articles. So what I want to start with is I'm going to go directly into the benefits section. So this yellow section in the middle, we have pulled out a couple articles in our hero page, and then we're going to go all programs. We also have the estimator there again. So you can find out what benefits do I get. You can go in, learn about what's the difference between SSI and SSDI, get a benefit plan inquiry, which is Social Security saying, hey, this is what we think your benefits are and your Medicare and your Medicaid. Right now, it takes a long time to get a BPQY, a benefit plan inquiry in Arizona, so we suggest you go to My Social Security Online. So we talk about how to set that up. Okay. Throughout, there's this blue button that says Get Help. It follows you. That can lead you to the benefit counselors, the consultants from Ability 360, which houses the work incentive planning and assistance for the full state. And in the PowerPoint, you'll get some of that information. But if you ever need human help, you just click this Get Help button. They give you the phone number to be able to contact them. You can get directly into free services if you need them. Going back in my programs. So we have SSI, SSDI, we have short-term and long-term disability, housing. We're not talking just housing assistance. We also talk about rent assistance and utilities assistance, cash assistance, nutritional assistance. On the other side, we have everything about healthcare you can think of. Find the route, healthcare coverage for you, access with or without a disability, access for people with a disability, the access freedom to work, which I'll go into in a little bit, more Medicare, employer sponsored, and health care on healthcare.gov. I'm going to go into the SSI article first. Every article starts with the basics. So we have the basic information. What is this, right? So what's the difference between SSI, SSDI, and then how to get that expert help? It's always there at the bottom, but we also have other ways to connect to it. DB101 is redundant and has information in several different places, so you never have to go, where did I find that? And if you did get lost, how is the search? You can just search in there and find it. So it talks about not only about going to work and benefits, but also how to apply. So if there's a benefit in that we talk about, we're going to talk about how to qualify for it. So we have all that information, phone numbers, applications already there, tricks to help you, tips, not tricks, tips to help you get your paperwork in order. That is the main reason people get denied is their paperwork's not in order. So there's that, other benefits you can look at. Very, very helpful. I mean, just a lot of ways to get information. We then go into understanding Social Security's decisions, how to report changes, what is a disability determination, what are your resources and income, how do they count that, what happens with SSI and going to work, we're going to focus on that. Examples, frequently questions, pitfalls, and next steps are in each one. Next steps not only give you like a little summary of what's in there, but also some additional like 211 things to connect to. So with SSI is supplemental security income. It supplements the income people do not have for their basic needs. And because there is a need, you have to show that need. So there are resource limits, and the resource limits are $2,000. If you have over $2,000, you will not qualify for SSI, no matter how significant the disability. I'm going to show you how to get around that. So we talk about the resource limits. So if you have a need, this I always remember, if you have a need for aid, you get Medicaid. Medicaid in Arizona is access. We're going to focus on what happens if you go to work. So what's going to happen? SSI and work. That's where you go. And it starts giving you some basic information. We're going to come to this quick estimator in a minute. And it says that your rules mean that your social SSI benefits won't go down as much as your earnings go up. So not all your expenses are going to be counted. And there are work incentives, which are rules Social Security created to help people go to work. One of the main ones are like impairment rated work expenses, something that people are paying out of their pocket to go to work due to their disability. So we give examples for that. And then we even give you like a little um, estimation you can do. And this is what's also in the full estimator and in every quick estimator. We have student earned income exclusion. This is huge. If somebody is under the age of 22 and going to school on a regular basis, which it tells you right here what that means, they can earn up to $2,410 per month without losing any of their benefits. Right? So it's not going to affect your SSI, Medicaid, nothing, access, nothing. There is an annual cap of 9,730. I'm trying to poke and it's not letting me poke. After that, it goes to what's called a 2-for-1 reduction. And 2-for-1 reductions means, sorry, I'm trying to go the wrong direction. Means that you can keep more money. For every $2 you earn, you get to keep $1 of your check. And then we get into how to save. It's like an ABLE account to set aside money. So when I said if you had $2,000, you weren't going to qualify. If you open an ABLE account allows you to save money that isn't, Social Security doesn't count as a resource. So you could put your money into an ABLE account and then apply for SSI. ABLE accounts for SSI can have $100,000 in that account. It's so incredible. Okay, and then we have other ways like past plans that allow you to save money for a job or equipment for school or even starting your own business. Okay, so you can use a past plan, set it aside, and it's not that $2,000 resources. Make a plan, and you can go deeper in and learn more about that by simply clicking, and you'll go into the past plan. And that's pulled out into the benefits that I'm showing you. There's also the Ticket to Work programs that help people get more money. All right. What if you need again? The expedited reinstatement. So everything's right there on this basic page, even including about healthcare. So when you have SSI, for every $2 you earn, you get to keep $1 of your check. Eventually, your check goes to zero. Once your check goes to zero, you could go into status what's called 1619B, which simply says, hey, your check went to zero, but you're still connected to Social Security and you still get your access. Okay. And so we have here about how much money you can earn, right? It only counts about half your money. So it's really great. So you can earn just under $60,000 and keep your access. What if you make over that? You can do what's called Access Freedom to Work, which is a Medicaid buy-in, and you can pay no more than $35 a month and make over $80,000. And then other healthcare options. And these are on other places, but it's all that first. What happens if I go to work on SSI? I'm scrolling back up. And that was just simply SSI and work, which I show you on the PowerPoint where to go to. So, sorry, trying to scroll past everything. So I'm going back to the top of my page. Okay, and I'm in SSI and work. I'm going to go to this little quick estimator to show you how these estimators work in here. So what is your monthly SSI, supplemental security account, supplementing income you do not have for food and shelter? The maximum of this year's 994, okay? Some people get less because they're getting help with assistance from somebody else. It asks if you're blind. Blind is the only disability that has its own rules. It's the only one. If I said yes, it would start asking me questions down here about that. So it limits what you're doing. Okay. If I was under 22, it starts going to ask me about if I'm in school half time. Click any of these little buttons and it gives me that same information about how I can go to school. But we're going to say, no, we are not in school. We are not blind. So these things worked grayed out. Wants to know your monthly income for the last, if you've worked in the last 2 months. Social Security is always 2 months behind. We're going to say this person has not. Everything's grayed out. If we said yes, it would start asking additional questions. So you don't answer anything you don't need. And then once you know your future plan, you don't even have to do math in this program, which is what I love. So it asks what your growth monthly income for all your jobs. Well, let's calculate what is your future plan. I'm going to use this as a foundational right now, um, just to get somebody interested in work. We want people to work as much as they can to earn as much as they want, to have the life they want. Okay. So what's your expected hourly wage? Let's say 15.15 is right now. Let's say we're going to make $16 an hour. Okay, not that much. Tips are considered income, so it asks about tips, and then it says how many hours you're going to work. Let's say we're going to work 32 hours. Okay, it tells me and does the math right there. Thank you for the growth monthly. We use these results. And then it asked about any of the impairment rate work expenses. Now, this is things that you need out of your pocket to go to work due to your disability. We're not going to say that right now. And if we had clicked blind, it would ask about blind work expenses, which is just about anything you need. We're going to simply hit continue because we want to do something quick and dirty. So, hey, in this snapshot, you'll have more income. Okay, you hover over. What you're getting from Social Security is 994. You hover over here, you see what you're getting from your earnings is $2,227.20. You show that your unearned income, your SSI check stops, but that's only because you're earning so much more money. And you can have in the graph, it has blue, short little section, and then green is like more than double. It comes down here and says, what is the actual income change? The actual income change is $1,233.20. That is fabulously way more, right? And it says, bottom line, your earnings from work will more than offset the loss of your SSI benefit. Now, if your earnings go down the next week because something happens, even just scheduling differently, in June, you report these, and in 2 months, Social Security will bring that check back. So it comes on and off depending what you're earning. You'll still be eligible for your free access, and you'll have the $1,233.20. And it says, and I'll make that plan a reality, right? You can work with a work incentive consultant. The blue button down here says get help. Or you can then go into the full estimator and get more details. But that is that simple to be able to see what would happen with a job. And it just took a couple minutes. You could print them out and go forward. So those are the quick estimators. In SSI, if I go back to my programs and I go to my SSDI, which Social Security Disability Benefits, it's social insurance that your FICA is basically your premium for. And because it's social insurance, Social Security doesn't care about your resources. You already paid your fair share. And if you paid your fair share, hey, you're going to get Medicare. And all of the same information is in here, right? How to apply, reporting, right? All of that information. And we're going to go in the SSDI and work. The SSDI and work starts talking about the different phases of work. First, you have your trial work period, which allows you right there 9 months in a 5-year rolling window where you can earn as much money as you want and still keep your benefits. And they show you the 5-year rolling window and this great little tool to count your SSDI trial work periods. Each year it's a different amount, so at the top it'll tell you what it is. This year, a trial work period is 1,210. So I can go through and I can click. And this is a tool that will be in the full estimator when you're in there doing if SSDI. Excuse me. After you go through your trial work period, you move into the extended period of eligibility. That is a 5-year. Let me take a little drink here. That is after your 5-year trial work period, you go into 3 years where you either get your benefits or not, depending on if you're making substantial gainful activity. Substantial gainful activity is a dollar amount Social Security chooses every year for what they believe is an livable wage, which is really just above the federal poverty level. This year it is 1,690 for an individual and 2,850 for someone who's blind. Again, the only one that has a different disability. We also talk about self-employment, and you can learn more about that. There's also a how to build your own business in here. Deductions that you're pulling out, expedited reinstatement. If you need your benefits again, you can get them back on. But it goes through all the different samples. And there is also a quick estimate at the top where you can go in and you can say, what are your benefits? Let's say you're earning 1,200 in your SSDI, not blind. Have you used any of your trial work periods? Well, let's say we use some, like in 2005, we were earning over 1,160. We did some seasonal work, and it says I've used two of my trial work periods. Everything else is grayed out. Future plan. Let's say somebody's expected to earn $20 an hour. We just make stuff up now. No tips. How many hours? Let's say they're working 32 still. Okay. Gives you expected earnings. We use this result. We also can put in the monthly related impairment related work expenses. We're not going to do that. We're going to hit continue. And what it shows here is that here's your earnings now of 1,200 in the blue, and then you hover over it, shows that you're still keeping that for a while, as well as earnings of 2,784. And then after your trial work period and you go into your extended period eligibility where that benefit comes on and off depending on if you're making above substantial gainful activity. You are, a check goes away, but you're still earning way more money. You're earning over the next 18 months $40,512. And then bottom line, you're still eligible for your Medicare, you're making more money, you're keeping your extended period eligibility. So if it goes down and comes back, it'll help you. It explains that. You click and it gives you a glossary explanation of it. And then you can also have access free and work where you can buy into Medicaid, even if you have Medicare. So going to work with Medicare, you can even have employer-sponsored health care along with Medicaid, along with Medicare. So you can triple your healthcare options by going to work. Right? And it says consult somebody and continue working forward. So very simple, quick ways of showing how that works. Any questions right at this moment about what's going on here? Okay. Now I'm going to go back to my home page. And remember, there was a section here about benefit and work. So if I went into my benefit and work to do the full estimator, which I will not have time to do here, but I will show you results. It talks to you about who it's for, what do you need, how long it takes. All the information is private, and it has that video right there to help you work through step by step what to do. On the side, we have all the programs that are in this estimator. So if you're on SSI, SSDI, child disability benefits, nutritional assistance, everything is right there, including earned income tax, right? So it's really great. I'm going to get a save session, and I'm going to give you an example of somebody who has SSI, SSDI, who went to work. I think I made him work, well, let me check. I think 20 hours, no, 40 hours at $20, I think is what I said. $19 an hour for 40 hours a week. Okay. And what I got is you're better off. And it shows the SSI and the SSDI. It shows that the SSI went away as soon as we started working because we're earning so much money. We were going from $996.08 to $3,806. That is a lot more money. And then when both SSI and SSD go away, you're still making $3,306. It shows how the healthcare is there, didn't go away, nothing changed with your healthcare. In fact, um, you may now qualify for nutritional assistance where they didn't before. And you could go into each month and see how those expenses are going to be each month. It's really, really great. And then there's also a timeline where it'll show you every significant change. So it's really helpful. You're going to know when things are going to change with your healthcare, when your employer-sponsored healthcare kicks in. It is a very helpful, but you are able then to get all that in there and learn exactly, just simply putting in the benefits like I did in the other one. You could create a report, share those reports, put them in the treatment plans, share them with other individuals on your team so you know that you all are sharing the same information. I then want to bring you into another save session I did real quick because you can do self-employment within within the full estimator. So you're able to just, there's a button that says, are you self-employed? Asks you completely different questions because Social Security looks at self-employment differently, how they do the benefits. They ask about work expenses. They ask about donated work expenses. They ask if you can talk about your whole startup and how long that's going to take and how much you think that startup's going to be. So I was able to go through and have somebody who's earning $2,000 for a month for self-employment. We're able to have their benefits here before they did the self-employment. And then we're able to show with their self-employment of that $2,000, um, I had taken out some work expenses. So we got a work income of 1,500 because we had to pay some of those work expenses. Your SSDI stays with $500. Your SSI reduces for every $2 you earn. You get to keep $1. So you get to keep $41.38. It's not a lot, but you know what? That keeps you connected to Social Security and your access, and you don't have to worry about it at all. And that continues. This is after 2 years you can continue to grow your business, but you're not losing, if it stays around the same amount, you're not losing any of your benefits at all. They stay. So you still have the same health care. Talks about how you still may qualify for this SNAP now, nutritional assistance. It says get some help. It just talks you through the whole process, which I think is just so helpful. But I want people to know that you can do a self-employment plan, and it's very simple. And you can click and you can go back and you can change it. If something changes, you can go and change it and see what it's going to look like now, right? Suddenly your business takes off. You're making $3,000 a month. You're doing great. Let's see what those benefits are going to be. So this is how you go over the benefits. And that is, I think, one of the best things that are here, as well as those articles that support you. Now, that's not the only thing we talk about in DB101. It's not just about benefits. Though, I do need to go into healthcare and show you that real quick. So, sorry. I want to take you in the access free and work because I think that is one of the biggest things. Access free and work. People don't realize that if somebody's on long-term, receiving long-term services, this is very helpful to keep those long-term services with going to work. So it talks you through the process. Is it right for you? What it covers, what it pays for. One of the things I think is really great is going into frequently asked questions to learn about stuff. So we can go into frequently asked questions. I love the fact that the first thing that comes up is, this is really confusing. Where can I get help? Right? So this is about helping you. This is not just good luck, right? So here's all the information about access, about phone numbers, qualified centers that can help you, the work incentives, right? Like it's all in there for you. And it says, access freedom work, you can earn $6,735 a month, which is about, I want to say 80,000. maybe 90. I can't remember right now off the top of my head. It's in the PowerPoint though. Um, and um, pay no more. You might have to pay a premium. You know, most $35. $35 and you can earn over $80,000 a month. So that's really understandable. In Arizona, you do not lose health care going to work. And I think that's really important to know. All right, I'm going to take you quickly into some of the sections. So the first section is about benefits that support work, finding the right help, and saving. So when I go into benefits, there's a whole myth section that talks about all the basic myths that are out there, right? So like, I'm going to lose my health care. There's a blue box that has like a little scenario. There's an individual talking about how they have ongoing healthcare needs and they're not going to be able to pay for themselves. And people tell them they shouldn't go to work because they might not be able to get the care they need. And the first section here is like a script. So for providers and VR and tribal VR, losing your healthcare benefits can be a huge concern if you're thinking about going to work. However, several programs can help you keep your healthcare benefits going to work. And they talk about them right there. Right? So it's the same kind of information was in the SSI and going to work, as well as the healthcare section. So again, really easy to find all the information you need. So we go from the myth sections. So getting past those myths. Finding the right job for you is great. It has sections about assessments, what kind of work you want, building those skills, finding the strategies and supports. We have knowing your rights and responsibilities, job supports and accommodations. What about disclosure? Managing benefits while working. This article is a complete summary of like everything you're looking at. You get the basic information, but you can go in and see, how's it going to affect my SSI? Here's everything we talked about. How's it going to affect my SSDI? Here's everything we talked about. Managing your healthcare. Here's everything we talked about, right? How to report your income. That's in every section that we showed SSI and SSDI, but here it is again, right? So how to report and then asset building, right? So helping you keep that money for you, which is another section we're going to go into as well. So we're still in work and benefits. And we have the other section about building your asset and wealth. So we have talking about able accounts and tax credits and trust funds. So the able account where you can save money and have it not be considered um, a resource. So up to $100,000 on SSI, 500,000 on SSDI. How to open an account. Compare. You don't have to use an Arizona state one. They're good though. But some have higher interest rates because you can get interest rates on some of these. The rules for spending, all of it's right there. And how to use an able account along with a special needs trust. And remember, I told you there was trust fund information in here as well. So everything, I mean, it's just, and if I didn't know where something was, say I'm on the home page and I'm like, I don't remember what able account he's talking about. ABLE, able, click. Here you go. Takes you right to the article, right? So you don't have to even poke around. I recommend poking around though, because you will find so much good information in here. You'll find informations about a past plan, setting aside money to start your own business. So how do you use a past plan, right? So it talks about how they work together. It's really incredible, setting it up. What's your eligibility, the application. If we talk about it, we're going to have the eligibility as well as the past plan itself. You got to have them. Here's the application form. Just click in there, it takes me right there. You need the past cadre. Here's a phone number, including their extensions. Who's going to help you with these things? Vocational rehab can, a case manager, a friend, Ability 360. Remember those people helping us down here? Tips, work goals, really, really great, helpful. Set aside money. And I love the idea. Set aside money for education, set aside money for starting a business. So Here's like self-employment and a past plan right here. So here's how to nonprofit associations offer education about starting a small business, the Small Business Administration, and the Small Business Development Centers. So right here, and again, here's the application. So you can get the assistance you need right there. So like say I run the next steps, it's also going to tell me, right, how to find those plans, applying for it, those benefit counselors, um, Aging and Disability Resource Center, but there's also employment preparations, all of that's in there to, um, job assistance centers are in there to help you, that may not be directly related to a disability or a system. Back into work and benefits, earned income tax credit, home ownership for people with disabilities. So not only how to get a home, but also how to modify a home and starting a small business. So starting a small business starts talking about, is this right for you? How to raise the money, saving the money, examples, pitfalls, etc. So really, really helpful for that aspect, of starting a small business, um, organizing and supporting micro enterprises, how to use the Arizona Rehabilitation Services Administration, small business loans, website resources, all of that's in there for you. And that's just the next steps. Remember, I told you next steps kind of have a summary and an additional resources. So really important, to be able to start saving that money to be able to help you get the life you want. We also, again, have pitfalls. So you can learn what not to do as well as what to do, right? So here's information that are pitfalls about building your wealth. Back to the homepage. Any questions on that section? Again, I know I'm going very quickly. The big thing is that AZ DB101 has so much information in it, just so much information. And what I really recommend is going through and just kind of doing the search or poking around, going to frequently asked questions, because it has so much. This section is all about youth and young people. So got some articles we pulled out. Go to all youth, you'll get more sections. Here's a school work estimator. Benefits for young people. Starting now is great because it's not just about benefits. It's understanding yourself, how to talk about your disability, how to talk with your friends, your families, your communities. What are the new responsibilities you're going to have as an adult? How are you going to handle your health care, do you need a personal care assistance? How would you manage that? And living on your own and exploring your options. So I love under new responsibilities, it talks about how to manage your money, tracking your money, paying bills and credit cards, what is a credit score, avoiding debt, the fact that people with disabilities live in poverty a lot. So, like, how do we get out of that? Dealing with your benefit, your financial planning. Just a little bit of information, but it brings you deeper and deeper into the conversations. Um, Talking to your parents about what do you want from your life, your own self-advocacy, what are the resources that are out there for you? What about being part of the community? What if you want to find a mentor? What are your legal rights? So we just bring you a little information and then take you deeper and deeper as you choose to go. Understanding yourself has, this little worksheet that I like, and it talks about, what accommodations you might need, talks about the difference between a medical model and a social model, and then also talks about independent living, bringing you into your independent living centers. We have 5 in Arizona, and I think it's really helpful to be connected to an independent living center because they have all the resources in the community. So you want to connect to them. If you don't know what you don't know, call them and be like, what do I need? Ed Roberts, founder of Independent Living. At the bottom, it also gives you suggestions about maybe where to go next. That's in like every section. Now, let me go back up here, youth and things. So the youth section talks about getting a higher education. how to pay for school, how to get financial help, uh, Pell Grants, scholarships, finding that first job, working, explaining what paychecks are, explaining the FICA and how it's paying for SSDI, which will then you could get later. And then we even have an example story of Eric going through this whole process. There's also a section just for parents. So parents can go through and learn about how the four ways benefits actually support work and how access covers people with disabilities. A job plus SSI is going to equal more money. And your child can save money and your child can stay connected to SSI. So that section is really great for parents. It also talks about turning 18 because rules change at 18. There's a redetermination. So they go through the whole process of that with you. And then I'm just going to click here for the veterans. We do have a whole veteran section talking about cash benefits as well as additional training and educational work, planning for civilian life. At the very bottom of DB101, we also have home about DB101. We have a glossary and then the national page for the other states. Going back to the home, and I'm asking, are there questions at this time? Okay, so we're providing resources. Thank you, Sherry. Sherry says for people outside Arizona, how to find the Centers for Independent Living. Thank you. Are there questions at this moment about anything? Anything I've covered, everything I haven't covered, things that you have questions about? So I know that internet access can be a challenge in some of our rural and border area. The Get Help button that connects you to certified work incentive consultants, they're there to not only get you these free benefits that I have on the PowerPoint. There are free services for the full state. It doesn't matter that they're situated in Maricopa. They serve the full state of Arizona, and there is four of them. So DB101 is really there to kind of reduce that stressors. If you do not have internet access, you can call them and you can go over this and they will do a session with you over the phone. Um, okay. Yes. All right. Um, that had nothing to question had nothing to do and was already answered. So great, thank you. But yet you can call them and you can say, like, you know what? I don't have access to the internet. You can use your tribal VR, you can use VR, you could use community resources for internet. This is available to absolutely anybody with internet connections. And if again, if you don't have it, call phone numbers right there and say, I don't have internet access. I want to do a DB101 session, and they will sit and go through it with you. And then if you need additional support, they can register you and put you directly into services for benefit consulting. Okay, at my time. I'm going to do since we're not having questions, I'm going to do a school and work estimator for youth so I can showcase one of the best work incentives. Again, that's that student earned income exclusion that I talked about. So it says it's for young people, right? If you're over 18 and getting SSDI and want to explore a more complicated plan, go to the work benefit and work estimator. So it explains everything, says, what do you need? If you're working, get your pay stubs. If you don't know, find your benefits. It clicks right into that one that I showed you at the beginning. It says it takes 10 to 15 minutes. It does not. And all information is private. I have no access to this. People who make this have no access. I forgot my password. I had to just start over again. I can't even get a new password, right? But let's just get started right now. Um, no data, which means because this is as I'm in a pro session. Indigenous empowerment. youth is what I'm calling this. So let's say the person is, oh my God, I used to use my son and now he's like so much older now. I have to think of the birthday. 2012, right? I don't know. Yeah. Okay. And ask where they live. We're gonna have them live with their parents, but they could be in a lot of different situations. Do they have a disability? Yes, but are they blind? How yet? Again, no income. So continue. Uh, this person's 14 years old. Okay. Um, should have made them a little older, but it's okay. Let's say they're getting $200 of SSI. It's lower because it's based on the parent. They're not getting any other benefits. Parents are concerned about them losing that $2,000 in that access. It already knows we have free access because of SSI and asks if they're in school half time. Again, that's clicking here and it tells you. We say, yes, they are. They have no job. We hit continue and we want to know what the plan is. The plan is that they're going to remain in school. And let's say they're just going to do like a really quick after school program. So they're making like $10, 10 hours at minimum wage. Because they're just doing an after school program, 15, no tips. Hit continue. So I can save this. And it shows me the exact same thing here, right? That they're not going to lose any of their SSI because of student earned income exclusion, but yet they're going to have way more money. In fact, they're going to have $859.03. Bottom line, they still have their access, their SSI, continue because of student earned income. If they turn 22, what's going to happen? And then they go through this whole process. And then in the next steps for this, though, I love it. They start talking about planning for work, right? So they give you a lot of information. What happens to healthcare? What happens to benefits? How do I plan school and work? It's all in there. Yes, Agnes, I saw your hand come up.
So we do
Sorry.
have a question in the chat
Mm-hmm.
from Z. So Z says, when reporting income changes to SSA, how long does it take before SSA changes the benefit amounts?
So when you report to Social Security, you need to report monthly, and Social Security has a 2 month delay. So you report, say you start working in May, June, July is when your check's going to change. You can also use that SSI quick estimate I showed you, if that's what you're utilizing, is SSI to even know what your check's going to be in 2 months, right? So say your hours change and you can go back in and you can make sure my check is going to be this much in 2 months. So it's a 2 month delay for anything for Social Security. Thank you, Z. Any other questions?
No questions, but a comment from Sherry who says that their state lost its funding and disappeared, but they use Arizona's website.
Sherry, what state are you in?
Couldn't find the unmute. Colorado.
Yeah. Um, I'm sorry, Sherry. I worked so hard to get Colorado, their DB101 and their voc rehab decided it was not something they wanted anymore and they got rid of it. If you're utilizing Arizona, do not use the estimators. You have completely different rules for your Medicaid and your able and your some of your able account stuff. General stuff, cool, great, but don't use the estimator because it'll be on Arizona. And I'm sorry that you lost it. I would talk to your vocational rehab and say, hey, I really utilize this and I would like it back because it's sitting on a shelf waiting for you to get it back, just so you know. I used to work for the people who created DB101. Now I'm back doing the work in Arizona. So, any other questions in our last couple of minutes? Comments, concerns?
So this is Agnes. I do have a question regarding the
Yes.
website. Are there any videos for people who may find it hard to be reading a lot of information? Because I think for some folks it may become a little overwhelming.
Yeah, they don't transfer the information into, but the videos we do have are these three right here, which is Welcome to DB101, where it explains it. The account and your vault is really for professionals. Don't go in there. You're just going to get more confused. Um, and then the estimators. We are talking about creating more videos. Um, and we will be creating the Sonora Center is working on creating a DB101 manual as well as some DB101 how-tos. So there will be more resources coming out. Um, Not sure how soon. And we're talking with vocational rehab about sharing some of those videos on DB101 itself. So if people have suggestions, um, about what they need from DB101, I would send them to me. I'll figure it out. On the PowerPoint you receive, you do have my email. Um, and we can go from there. I will also put that in the chat for you. If you want to just don't send people like for more help, but if you have suggestions to improve DB101, I will take those to the leadership at vocational rehab. I'm going to let you know though, as Sherry said, that they lost their DB101 in Colorado. Arizona has had this since 2012. Vocational rehab paid for the development of it as well as the maintenance of it, and they are very committed to this program. And so we are not looking at any time ever losing DB101, but always looking at how to improve it. So I'm going to share that with you. Um,
So this is Agnes again. I think it's
yes.
a great idea to have it included and shared with schools, especially with the schools that have programs who are trying to do customized employment or work-based, so that students are aware of this resource and they can access it, especially when you talked about the section where it discuss establishing your own business.
Hmm.
I think those are great skills and opportunities for youth, especially in rural areas where there might not be employers or employment opportunities, but
Yes.
developing a business, finding out where their passion and skill is, and developing a business and bringing in their own income. I think it'd be a great idea.
We are working right now at the Sonora Center. I'm trying to type in and speak it. That's not my forte. On how to incorporate DB101 into the customized employment. That's where we're writing a lot of these how-tos. We're also going to be working within self-employment. And so DB101 will be part of that because again, there are 4 certified benefit planners um, at the Work Incentive Planning Assistance for free benefits. So we really need more help. And that's why we've really have invested, VR has invested in DB101. If there are other benefit planners out there as well, please, I just put my email into the chat. Contact me and we will be able, I want to know who's out there doing this work. I've been doing this work for like 15 years and we have always been way understaffed and we always will be, unfortunately. So let's try to make this as best as we can. We will be talking exactly how to use DB101 in the youth sections. Um, I've worked with uh, parents and teachers for years about how to utilize it. We just got to get more and more people out there doing it. So any last questions? I just realized what time we're at. So I want to make sure that we have everything we need and you have the information you want. You're going to get this PowerPoint and I'm going to stop sharing because I'm all over the place all of a sudden. Hang on, people. So sorry. There we go. Did I stop sharing yet? I have no idea. Um, so there we go. I found the stop sharing. God, trying to find that button. It was under everything. Okay. Thank you for the time. If there are no further questions, Agnes,
Nope,
you
I
will
do
receive.
not see any more questions in the chat.
Okay.
Let's put his email there. And remember, if you please give us feedback um, regarding this webinar, and there's an opportunity also to request any additional topics that we want to focus our webinar series on. We're more than welcome to get any feedback. This helps us to gauge how we're doing and also acknowledges the topics and interests from our constituents to our funders. So for the next in the summer, we'll be hosting a series of webinars on sexual assault and violence in Native women with disabilities. And so we'll have a series of trainings available in the next month. So to watch out for your emails, newsletters, um, and then remember to fill out your evaluation. So Nicholas, thank you very much for a very informative website. Really great information on there. I was not aware of and useful for working with people so they can estimate and be able to use all the services that is afforded to them.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate the time and namaste.
Okay, thank you very much. The webinar is recorded and will be sent out after it's been captioned. So be on the lookout in your emails. And also, previous recordings are also located on our Sonoran Center website. Look under the Circle of Indigenous Empowerment, and we'll send you a link to where all of our previous webinars are and the topics. So thank you very much, and have a great day.